Let's talk about our snap and our ripple. I know everyone knows what a ripple edit is. Everyone knows what snap does. But I want to tell you about the hotkeys you can use to enable them and disable them as you're manipulating, as you're doing stuff, and you're working on your edits. Whenever you see the blue highlight, that obviously means it is enabled. You want to enable or disable, to turn off with a hotkey. I hit the R key. That's going to turn on and off my ripple. If I want to enable and disable snap, it's the N key. So I hit N, and that turns snap on and off. Let me zoom back in just a little bit. So snap is on. I'm going to turn off ripple for right now by hitting the R key. I just want it off while I'm demonstrating the snap. So if I pick this clip up and I start moving it around, you're going to notice that the head frame of the clip is going to snap to the positioner. It's going to snap to an in point or an out point or a cut transition of any of the clips. All right? So that's what the snap is going to do by default. Makes sense. Let me undo that. If I hit the N key and snap is off, obviously I pick this up, I move it around. It's not going to snap to anything. So what if I start to move this and I realize, oops, snap is off, I want it on? What I can do is hold the Shift key, and you'll notice if you look over at snap over there on the right-hand side, it's now enabled. I let go of the Shift key, it turns off. I hold the Shift key, it enables it again. So now, even though I started to drag and move this around with snap off, snap is now enabled temporarily because I have the Shift key held. Release that. Let me undo that. Deselect all. One more modifier key that's important to understand is, let me make sure I have snap on, which it is. If I pick up my clip and I start moving it around, of course it's going to be snapping. As I said, notice that it's the head of my clip that I'm manipulating and moving that is snapping. If I need the tail frame to snap, I can hold the Control key, and now I'm going to snap my clip that I'm manipulating by its tail frame. So that's holding the Control key while manipulating your clips with snap on is going to then switch the snapping to be the tail. Just for reference, if snap is off, I hit the N key. I pick up my clip, it's not snapping. I hold Shift, it's now snapping. I hold Control, it's now snapping to the back. So you can enable both of them at one time if snap was not on by holding Shift and Control. I'm enabling snap and I'm telling it to snap by the tail. Let me undo that. There's a couple options I want to talk about as far as snapping. If we go to our option tab or flyout right here, I click on this, you'll see there's a sub flyout for snap. And you've got two options in here, snap to positioner and snap includes marks. Let me turn on snap include marks. And let's create some markers. So I'm just going to go to this frame, hit the M key, I make a marker, I go over here, M key, make another marker. So I've got two markers that I've created, okay? Now if we pick up this clip, hit N, turn on snap again, I move around, you'll notice that of course it's snapping as we expected, but it's totally ignoring your markers. So that's the point of that is you can turn this on and say, yes, use the markers as a snap object. So now if I pick this up, you'll notice that the head is snapping to it. And of course, hold the Control, I can get the tail to snap to it. So that's that option. Let me select these markers and just delete them by hitting the delete key to clean this up. Now if I go back to the snap options and I turn on snap to positioner, this is going to be relevant when you are doing your drag and drops from your media library or manipulating a clip inside the timeline here. So what if I go to this frame right here and I know that for a fact I want this clip right here to start at that frame. I turn that option on and as soon as I pick it up, look what happens. It jumps to that positioner. I cannot even have it go anywhere else. With that option on, you are always going to take the clip and snap it to your positioner. Hold the Control key and I can snap the tail to that positioner. So that's what this option is. Undo that. Let me turn that off. I do not want that on right now. It does come in very handy, but not at this moment.